This morning, an Eastern Kentucky organization aims to get people affected by historic flooding back on their feet and into their homes. And a nonprofit here in our region continues to provide hot meals to give people the energy they need while they recover.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is almost 6 o'clock on this Wednesday, the middle of the work week. I'm Dakota Makris. Let's take it over to meteorologist Paige Noel for a look at our forecast this morning. Paige, good morning to you. And if somebody's heading out the door this morning, well, they may feel the need for maybe a light little sweater.
Yeah, it's a little chilly out there this morning. It's of course foggy as well. If you're headed out, I would say before that sun rises, I definitely would grab just the very light sweater. I always keep one around. You never know when you're going to need it. This morning, you definitely might need it. It's chilly. Not bad, though. It is a little bit on that foggy side, though, as you look outside that WYMT studio camera there. So definitely dealing with that dense fog, and that's going to continue at least for the next hour or so. We could potentially see it kind of spread out, thicken out closer to 7 o'clock. But really, once that sun starts to rise, should get a whole lot better, and we should see that fog really dissipate, I would say closer to that 9 and 10 o'clock time frame. But yeah, some of us in the upper 50s, 59 just dropped there in London to Williamsburg. Still a little bit warmer, 62 Harlan and Middlesboro, but still mild compared to the past few mornings. 59 Wise, 59 in Logan. Take the coffee outside with the blanket. It's a beautiful start to the day. It's all because of these dew points as well. They're also in the upper 50s to lower 60s, so that's more of that comfortable category when we're talking about those dew points versus those 70s where it's just really the air you can wear. You can feel it as you step out the door. Remaining into those lower 60s there by 8 a.m., lower 70s by 11. Seeing that mixture of sun and clouds with highs getting closer to the upper 70s. Should see a little bit more sunshine heading into tomorrow. I'll look at tomorrow's forecast as well coming up.
All right, Paige, thank you. Well, almost 3 weeks after historic flooding impacted our area, we still do not know the total number of homes and businesses damaged or destroyed. The search also continues for 2 missing women in Breathitt County. Crews are still out looking for Vanessa Baker and Nancy Cundiff. They were both swept away in the floodwaters in the Lost Creek community. The death toll remains at 39. Progress is being made on several fronts. Only a few customers are still without power, but about 4,400 water outages remain, and many are still under boil water advisories. 56 state and county bridges will have to be replaced, and 52 will need repairs. Debris removal is also underway in several counties. Well, it's a long journey for many recovering from deadly flooding. Some who lost their homes are turning to temporary shelter, even tents, as they try to figure out their next steps. Emily Bennett spent Tuesday morning with the man who's having to start over at 62 years old.
This little field off Kentucky 542.
But I sure ain't never seen it like that.
The place Larry Jacobs calls home.
This whole holler up through here got tore all to pieces.
The floodwaters rushing across the road, through the field, and over his vehicles.
All the way up to right here.
And several feet into his home.
Opened the front door and was surrounded by water. By the time I could get my boots and everything on, it was coming up through the floor of my cabin right there.
Now everything he owns, everything he worked for, taken away.
I worked 40 years of my life driving the truck over the road, and it just takes one day and it's all gone, everything.
He's left living in this tent.
It's like living in my truck, only a little bit smaller.
Donated to him by volunteers, sitting just feet from his house.
It ain't nothing fancy and it ain't made up or nothing.
Faced with back problems and other health issues, getting in and out
it's hard.
Is a struggle.
It's rough to get up and down. You have to get on your knees and push yourself up and then find something to grab a hold of and pull yourself on up.
Something he knows he cannot do for much longer, but finding another place to live isn't as easy as it sounds.
And you know, all the rental properties and all the apartments and stuff like that, I'm sure they're all filled up now because nobody has nowhere to go.
But as heartbreaking as it is to see all he's worked for swept away, he says he has to move on.
Just pick yourself up and dust yourself off and start over. It's all you can do.
Counting his blessings instead of the heartaches.
It ain't the best, but it's not the worst. Worst is I could not have anything.
In Breathitt County, Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
Jacobs has applied for FEMA assistance. He says officials are being helpful, and he's in the process of getting more paperwork together to get more help. One Eastern Kentucky organization is aiming to provide long-term solutions to those impacted by the recent flood. The Breathitt County-based organization Aspire Appalachia is providing reconstruction assistance to families in need, helping to supply drywall, insulation, and anything else people need to repair or rebuild their damaged homes. Volunteers say they are happy to help local families in whatever way they can.
We just couldn't do anything about it for the first few moments, but after everything bad has happened, we can now do multiple things about it. We can hand out food, we can rebuild homes like they are doing in there, and we can just help out people and pray for them that are in all of these conditions at these times.
Aspire Appalachia is expected to receive help from the organization Angel Disaster Response, which says it will match any donations toward this effort up to $100,000. Governor Andy Beshear says he believes FEMA is taking steps to help more flood victims in Eastern Kentucky get the help they need. The agency will be calling everyone who gets denied. FEMA also launched a texting program to communicate with flood victims yesterday. FEMA will allow staff at disaster recovery centers to approve claims on site. And finally, some staff members going door to door will be able to do the same thing. And state and county officials are joining FEMA this week for a 2-day flood relief push. It's happening today and tomorrow at the Home Place Community Center in the Erie community of Perry County. Officials will be there from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. both days. They will be able to help people with FEMA aid applications and help people register for possible assistance. The deadline to receive free help from the Crisis Cleanup Hotline is quickly approaching. People needing help with drywall, flooring, and appliance removal, fallen trees, and mold mitigation have until Friday to contact the hotline. Crisis Cleanup connects people with volunteers from local relief organizations, community groups, and faith communities. You can call the hotline using the number you see at the bottom of your screen. Well, a hot meal, it's something many of us do not have to worry about, but since the historic flooding, some are having a hard time getting 3 good meals a day. We spent some time with people from Kane Kitchen in Whitesburg yesterday who are meeting a need in that community.
Here you go.
Those are some of the 1,200 daily meals Kane Kitchen is serving. And as soon as the flooding began, Valerie Eisenhorn says the organization's kitchen manager, Brandon Fleming, got right to work.
We began immediately with preparing food, and we served our first meal at noon on the Thursday, flood day, the 28th.
Since then, people impacted by flooding in the community have stopped by to get breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all served fresh. For people like Keisha Hunt Erie, who lives in Letcher County, her house suffered damage. She says her brother, who lived in her completed basement, lost everything.
We were able to get rid of the mold and clean out the basement. A lot of it we were able to do ourselves.
Her family stopped by the kitchen for lunch and dinner as they waited for their water and power to be restored.
Not having to worry about what you're going to eat or where you're going to get the food from, it's really a blessing to be able to come here. It's great.
And she is able to return that blessing by delivering meals to her fellow neighbors.
When you have someone that's already went through it, you don't expect for them to serve in the community.
Reminding everyone to love thy neighbor. In Whitesburg, Dakota Makress, WYMT Mountain News. Kane Kitchen is looking for volunteers. Breakfast is served from 8 to 10 a.m. Lunch is between noon and 2 p.m. Dinner is from 4 to 6. Well, we have an update about a flood relief fundraiser done by a fast food chain here in the Commonwealth. Several Kentucky Arby's restaurants were donating all proceeds Monday to Eastern Kentucky flood relief. 46 locations were participating, and spokespeople tell us the amount raised should easily top $300,000. That's $50,000 more than was presented on a ceremonial check on Monday. Baptist Health Lexington is partnering with other Baptist Health hospitals to donate supplies to Eastern Kentucky. The donation drive is employee-driven and will send donations all across the mountains. Employees of Baptist Health Lexington and 8 other Baptist hospitals are collecting household items, medicines, baby food, baby formula, and more for those in need. Baptist Health is also calling on the community to help. We have a link to the donation drive over on WYMT.com. The drive will go until the need is met, and officials will continue to take the supplies to the hardest hit counties.
Hey, good morning to you. The time now is 6:09. Getting a look at that forecast. Some of us dealing with that dense fog. Others, not so much. Looking down downtown Whitesburg, not looking bad over there, at least in terms of the fog. It is a little bit on that cooler side throughout the area. There's more of that dense fog you can see here on that Pikeville Medical Center camera. 60 degrees. Some of us into the upper 50s this morning. Consider yourself lucky. It's 59 in London to Williamsburg to 62 Middlesboro, 60 Monticello to 63 here in Hazard, 58 Clintwood, 59 in Wise, 61 there in Prestonsburg to 59 up towards Logan. A little bit of a cooler start, but pretty comfortable out there as you're stepping out the door. We are going to start to see those rain chances increase a little bit. We're mostly dry today and tomorrow, adding in a few more isolated rain chances by Friday, and then heading into the weekend, becoming slightly more scattered. That looks to continue heading into the new week as well. I'll have the timeline on that coming up.
All right, Paige, thank you so much. When we come back here on Mountain News this morning, President Joe Biden signs a major bill meant to save Americans some money. We'll have more on that in just a few minutes.